But I can see that he's not trying to sabotage her quietly from the sidelines. I can see that it's a genuine appreciation that's coming through on his side of things. So this King of Swords is basically very controlling, and he's trying to control the truth of the situation, and he's holding firmly on to whatever truth he thinks that he has, but he doesn't see things clearly, and he certainly doesn't see himself clearly. And it's because he wants to cut her down in order to offer her some kind of very controlling, unbalanced relationship. He might have money to offer, or he thinks he has, or he's threatened by her getting her own. So even if he doesn't have a lot of money, if he gets her like fired or something, then she has no money and then he has some money. But there's a real controlling energy coming off of this King of Swords. And I really just don't think he's not even in her peripheral vision is what I'm getting. Like, I just don't think that she's really looking at this particular guy or doesn't know that he's so fixated on her. He also has some kind of mission is what I'm hearing. But he has to betray some kind of King of Pentacles. And that could be her own ambitions of being the King of Pentacles, some kind of position that she's worked hard for. So that's maybe different or unique, or she wants to go down a different path in her life. And that might have to do with a career that she's chosen for herself or something. But he is thinking that he's got to destroy that. And possibly there could be a King of Pentacles energy around her that he feels he needs to destroy. And that could really be anybody that's stable, loving, and trustworthy around this feminine. It could be her boss that maybe sees her as a wish fulfillment to his department or whatever he's running. It could be a partner. It could be a husband figure. It could be a boss figure. It could be a father figure. But there's somebody here that has her back, and he feels he needs to betray that person. But again, it also could just be she's the King of Pentacles, and she's worked her way up into that position, and he is in some small-minded little man syndrome energy, and he feels like he needs to betray her. And I do think this might have to do with, again, I pick up on, because I'm seeing the Ten of Swords. For me, that's Sun and Gemini energy. So again, her Sun energy is what's coming through very strong. So by trying to paint some kind of nefarious picture about her to this King of Pentacles, or about her in her King of Pentacles role, that she's two-faced or something like that. In reality, he is. And I don't even think this man is self-aware enough to understand that it's him that is two-faced, even though he seems to be setting this entire elaborate plan into motion. And I can see that there is a Queen of Wands that he feels he wants to send a message to this feminine energy. And I don't think it's love related, because this man tries, whatever is going on, it's not love related, but it is in his mind. But he is trying to send a message to this feminine energy that's like not love related, but he wants this Queen of Rods to do it. So this could be another person in the work environment with some kind of power or authority, but he thinks he can get her riled up. He could even be sleeping with this person. But and there's something about, because I'm almost getting like Morse code. So there's something here that he's doing in the way that he's communicating, where it's like he gives her just enough, but then he pulls back. And then he says just enough, and then he pulls back. But he knows what he's doing, because he's leaving a picture incomplete that really should be completed. And he's doing it on purpose in order to get her agitated, and in order to get her to send some kind of negative message that is going to restrict this person's progress in the work environment. It's going to affect their legacy, the way that they come off. They want that. And possibly they want this person like monitored. So they don't want this person to have freedom in the work environment, even though they're really excellent in their work environment. It's like, oh, well, this is a person that needs to check in with me, probably. Could be him. This is a person that needs to come to my office, and naturally that wouldn't be the way that things go here at all. And also she doesn't require that. She's a standout star kind of a person in her work environment, and she should be allowed to go independent or prominent. And for some, this man may have some kind of plan to prominent himself. Like he is going to be, oh, I get it. He wants to take responsibility. He wants to take credit for her rise, even though he can see in her that she's naturally going to rise. But he needs to, before she's discovered, that's kind of what it feels like. She could be new in this work environment or something, but before she is noticed by the higher ups or something, he wants to take credit for all of her natural, innate Sun qualities. And he wants to say, I built this. I did this. When in reality, he inserted himself. And I feel like that's a very strong phrase. And I feel like he wants to take advantage of her. And this man's schmegsual energy is very swords. It's very stabby, it's not warm, and it's not, and he's very defensive about maybe a marriage. I don't know if this man is married. He's got a lot going on here, but he's like looking out and watching her, and he's feeling like his hands are tied. This could be a karmic movement that's going on because of who he's been and what he's done. I think that he's so confused about what he sees in her, which is this strength quality, this leadership quality, that he's projecting out his own. He's a very negative leader, this guy, and he's probably gotten to wherever he's gotten in life. However, not far that is, or far that is, by betraying and sabotaging others in this negative energy. And so her very healthy Leo energy, strength energy, he is viewing as manipulative, that she must be manipulating him. Also, he feels lust towards her. And again, he's blaming that on her as well, that she must be causing that. She must be flirting with him. I think she's minding her business, sir. And I think that you have feelings that you need to contend with within yourself instead of, pushing outwards onto other people. So he's trying to bait somebody into, maybe somebody that he's sleeping with, he's trying to agitate somebody into being the one to lash out. And so that's where it's like aggression once removed. That came through in the last reading, I think. It's aggression once removed. But I can see that this feminine has no natural interest in this King of Swords. He's trying to manufacture that. He has interest in her. And then he's trying to sabotage the people around her that he thinks might be interested in her or that might support her. He's trying to sabotage them. And he's also trying to sabotage her. And he's justifying all of this by saying she deserves it because she is so vital. It's that sun energy of like the vitality energy, and she is so successful, or she just has that, and that doesn't seem right to him because there is some kind of very deeply disturbed conventional aspect on traditionality where this is definitely somebody who feels like women should be in the home, and I really think he wants to trap her and keep her in the home and destroy this innocence. It's a kind of innocence that comes off of her, and possibly take credit and make her pay for being everything that I think he wishes he could be. And I think this is a man who wants to climb, for sure, but he does it in this King of Swords way. He's very cold in his energy, and he's very controlling, but he likes to present as though he has a healthy partnership energy, but he very much doesn't. And I actually don't think it'll be too long into any relationship that he has that he exposes this side to himself. I also think this man has people on the go, because I think he's looking out at another man who seems to be doing this. He is also doing it himself. And he's the one trying to leverage that. So he's projecting onto this man as well and saying he's a certain way that he's not, and that he feels a certain way about this feminine that he doesn't. Like, because whoever this other guy is that's around this feminine, or maybe there is more of a mutual interest here, I don't know. And this King of Swords is not looking at that well. He's projecting himself there in order to justify his underhanded actions, and he thinks he's very clear-minded, and he thinks he's very logical. So I like to watch Dr. K, who is a psychologist here on YouTube. He's amazing, and he always says that it's the people that say that they're very logical that are actually the most emotional. Like, you don't get to opt out of being emotional, so definitely your emotions are affecting your mind and clouding your judgment is what I'm getting, but it's just so subconscious with people like that are saying, oh, well, I'm just, especially men that are maybe alexithymic. I just got a tingle when I said alexithymic, so I feel like this man is alexithymic, and that's why he's in this like chess mode energy where this feminine is concerned. And I think he's talking work, or I think he's talking emotionally removed, and he's trying to stir up emotions in a Queen of Wands here, in order to weight the deck in his favor. He could even be saying that his hands are tied. He can't he can't say anything or do anything here. His hands are tied, and maybe that the balance of power is out of his hands, or that it wouldn't be fair for him to say something, so she should lash out. She should be the one to do something or say something. Please help me is what I'm hearing. Like, please help me. My hands are tied, or I'm nervous, or I'm anxious. But really, his hands aren't tied. He's pretending that. And he's very controlling, and he's barely keeping it together. He's trying to appeal to somebody who is a decision maker, perhaps, or someone who can, what he's trying to do is he's trying to weight the odds in his favor. Is what he's trying to do. But he's speaking the language of fairness and saying, oh, it wouldn't be fair if I did it, or this feminine has more power than me, so I can't do it. But really, this is a very fair, balanced feminine. He's painting her unfairly. It's because he has a schmegel interest in her in a professional environment that she's not interested in. And he doesn't like that, because he cannot view women as whole people. He views them as objects. And he thinks she should be an object, but she's very clearly not an object. She's a very full person. And that's, I think, the role she's meant to play in his awakening is, don't put me in a box. But he's going to try to. And he has to appeal to other people. It's like she's Moby Dick. And he's got to appeal to other people to try and tie her down. Because he can't do it in and of himself. Because he's not supposed to. Because that's not what she's there for. She's there to highlight his outdated beliefs that he doesn't see women as people. And that she should be left alone in her work environment, the same way he's left alone. He wants her to fail, and he wants her to think that she failed because she lacks skill and that she, because, you know, he wants her to think that that she's not good enough and that that was a fair decision. It's not a fair decision. He is sabotaging her behind the scenes, and he has gone to great lengths in order to do it, and potentially to break her heart here as well. He wants her to have nobody. He wants her to not be able to turn to anybody and to be left with no options. And so then she'll just be grateful to accept his control. And then he's going to tell her that this is the way of the world and that a man takes care of a woman. This is in no way, shape, or form a man taking care of a woman. In no way, shape, or form is that what's going on here. This is a man harming a woman and keeping himself in his own delusion in order to be able to do this. And I think you could tell this man straight to his face. I don't think that he'll change because this is, I feel like, actually a very dangerous man. Very controlling person. Cold to the touch, maybe. Maybe if you touched him, he'd be very cold. But he's just very, very cold. And he lacks empathy. And this is somebody that projects negativity out onto everybody else around in the situation in order to justify himself. But he's really the bad egg. So if this is you, I feel like you're being sabotaged behind the scenes by a King of Swords. This could be a decision maker. It's somebody that's watching you from the sidelines. They do have some kind of power in the world. Very cold, but just a nasty person. Feels victimized by the world because he's not seen in the same light that this feminine energy is seen in. But the reason he's not seen that way is because he does not have those traits. And rather than working on those traits, he just prefers to sabotage her. And I think it's a real trigger that she's a woman and that she's an attractive woman at that. And I'm telling you, spiritually speaking, he needed this wake-up call, but he's not to hurt her. So if this man is trying to convince you to go after this woman or to, I would think twice. I would look twice at him because he's trying to act like he's being very fair and impartial, and he is not. He is not. He wants her, and he wants her in a schmegdual way, in a professional environment, and she's not interested. Because I started to pick up on this very nefarious masculine energy that just sort of watched her and didn't like what he was seeing. I think there's something about this feminine possessing this innate kind of sun quality because the sun is a masculine planet. We all have sun energy, right? But sun and Mars, those are more masculine side of things planets. But this is a feminine he just kind of has on lock. It's very innate in her. And I don't know if it's triggering some kind of insecurity in this masculine, and it's around this sun-oriented energy. So, in her personality, in her leadership qualities, because when somebody like this has a leadership position, people do well. But I am hearing a lot of negative things. There's a very Cancer male energy coming through here. So I feel like he's very traditional, but I also think he's got a lot of moon qualities in and of himself. He could be moon dominant, but he also could have his moon conjunct her sun. So it's like maybe he innately does want to follow her. He finds himself liking her, but he holds this against her. And he wants to possess her and he wants to control her. And he's not going about this in a straightforward manner. I don't even think she realizes this man is fixated on her. Or preoccupied, and he is setting out to sabotage her. And weirdly, it's in a relationship-oriented way. Because one of the major crimes, I want to say this is kind of a crime, the way this man is looking at this woman and reducing her down, is that she is in a professional environment. She's not interested in him or maybe anybody. She's definitely not there to romance. It's not that kind of a setting, but he can't help but to look at her through that lens and to reduce her down. And he sees her as being so qualified. I'm hearing so qualified as a threat to him. And he's angry about that. And he's very controlling. And I can see him kind of going white-knuckled, kind of just clenching his fists and being very angry. And he's being very confused about what it is that he's seeing. And it's because something needs upgraded in this man's worldview. He is looking at his own devil energy, actually. And I think he attributes it to her. So this is the kind of man that looks out at a woman and lusts after her, but doesn't. He might see himself as this King of Swords kind of energy, like very cold or very, very professional. But he does lust after this woman. And blames it on her and possibly thinks that she is the one in some kind of devil energy when, remember what I said, she's just trying to make her way in the world. Now, not only that, I started to pull cards as I was channeling through. And this is where I started getting really confused because there's actually a lot of people involved here. And there's a whole kind of trail of dominoes that this man has seemingly put into play around this feminine energy. For one, there is a man that he notices around her. And he's confused about what he's seeing in this man because I do think that he can see this other man having an interest in this feminine schmegdually, but this guy's got a lot on the go. He knows that this other guy has some devil energy, but what's interesting is, and he can see that this guy is kind of like camouflaged, but I'm actually not getting a bad energy off of this guy. I think that maybe everybody knows what time it is in this particular situation. Like I kind of get the sense that this guy's not in a relationship, but he also is looking at this feminine and he's looking at this feminine like she's the higher cup, that she's the one that he wants, but he is maybe hiding behind the scenes here. So this other guy's watching that guy and he's very confused about what he is seeing. And he can see that kind of devil energy here. And I think he thinks that, that guy's in some lustful energy towards her and is, going to betray her or something. And I think he's setting out to betray this guy first, and he could be doing that by putting out some bait, sending somebody else towards him to try and break this feminine's heart, try to set him up in some way is what I'm getting. And he justifies this kind of behavior because he's in some karmic ass energy. But because I kind of feel like this guy's serious about this feminine, this other guy that's watching, and I can't tell what her feelings are towards him. But I can see that he's not trying to sabotage her quietly